Meve's force reached Cavaldon, a small, run-down town.
The Blacklads, they've a strong garrison in place.
Proclaimed her scouts upon returning from a foray.
And they stand prepared for a siege. Their stores overflow, and we've seen ballistas, scorpions.
Cavaldon can be taken,
Began Reynard hesitantly.
but not without losses. Considerable losses.
A retreat. Is that what you advise?
I fear the soldiers wouldn't take to such a course. They're eager, Your Grace. They've a fire in them. Order a retreat and you could devastate morale.
Our losses may be heavy,
Said Meve, drawing her sword.
but I'll make certain the vile invader suffers even more. Order the troops to prepare. We will attack.
Soon after, the Lyrians moved on Cavaldon, war drums rumbling in step to their march. Upon the walls, the Nilfgaardians stood poised to defend.
I won't leave a single city to these invader scum! For Lyria! For Rivia!
Watch your heads!
Come on, kill me!
Zweifel!
We must bring down their walls! Crush them!
Catch!
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
Elherzer!
Naturally. At once.
Saw them! No other way!
That was not in the spell books.
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
I must think of my folk.
Hammer done in a jiffy.
Discipline. That is what you folk lack. Yes? Erigloire.
You'll never take me alive!
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Come here! Let's dance! Gloire en Kazer!
God's blast it! My breastplate chafes.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
Discipline. That is what you folk lack.
We did it, Your Grace. The city is ours.
The Nilfgaardians had indeed prepared well, with grapples to repel hook ladders from the walls and long spears to rain down upon attackers far below. Meve managed on the fourth attempt to breach the defenses, but did so scrambling over the corpses of her own men. The Queen was in the field tent when Reynard arrived with surprising news. To be heard over the groans of the wounded, he had to raise his voice.
Your Grace, a delegation of townsfolk. They seek an audience urgently.
Dozens of burghers stood before the tent. Between them and the Queen, a man knelt in shackles. His face was blooded as if he'd endured a vicious beating just moments before.
Who's this?
Our blacksmith, Todo.
Snarled a priestess in a frayed robe.
He betrayed you, Your Grace. Soon after the Nilfgaardians arrived, within hours in truth, he offered his labor and strength. They didn't even need to ask. Forged arms and armor for them, all for imperial gold.
Meve gripped the beaten man's beard, tugged upwards, and looked him in the eyes.
Did you forge the hooks? And the tips for those spears?
I
I did, Your Grace.
It was fine work.
growled the Queen.
Damned fine.
Show him mercy, milady!
Cried a withered old man in a flour-spattered apron.
When the black-clad bastards captured my son, they were eager to hang him. Todo spoke for him, saved his life.
He helped me too.
Hollered a woman in the crowd.
I were hungry. He shared what little he had.
The townsfolk began shouting over one another. Some told of the blacksmith's noble deeds. Others labelled him a traitor deserving of a cruel and violent end. Meve turned back towards the field hospital, pondering the case, then spotted her soldiers' corpses laid out in rows. Had it not been for Todor, there might not have been so many.
Mother,
Willem's voice pierced the air, replete with tension.
my offences were far graver, yet you showed me compassion.
This man forged arms for the Nilfgaardians. 'Tis true.
Said Meve to the crowd.
Yet you, Baker, baked the bread they ate. And you, Potter, stained the cups from which they drank. Willingly or not, each of you aided the invader. Where does pursuing one's craft end and treason begin? I've no answer to that. So I shan't punish any for doing merely what's theirs to do.
Upon hearing the verdict, the Queen's troops stared in disbelief, then began to boil. As she walked back calmly to the tent, they jeered and hissed. At the last, it took Reynard to calm them down. Meve had saved Todor, but she was convinced she'd not see the blacksmith again. Come evening, he returned to the camp, with a wagon full of arms so new they shone.
If it weren't for you, Your Grace, they'd have torn me to bits with their bare hands.
He said, kneeling before her.
I thank you for speaking up for me. For my innocence, that is. I've a gift for you. A gift I knows you'll put to proper use.
Meve took a spear in hand, put it to her shoulder, and gazed down the shaft. The tip glowed red in the light of the setting sun.
Of that, my friend, you can be sure.
How could you, Your Majesty? He's crafted weapons for it blackclads. The very same what killed our lads.
Freedom will cost us dearly. Dearly indeed. Freedom will cost us dearly. Dearly indeed.
Your Majesty, The huts untouched. Ripe grain in the fields, 'tis hard to believe. I feared we'd have another Edirn here, with the Blackclads setting fire to all.
I feared nothing of the sort. Nilfgaard's not stupid. Lands it aims to hold, it doesn't destroy. And Willem did bend the knee to the Emperor.
Yes?
May disgrace ends here! Time I wiped it away!
Scrubbing duty again? Oh, gods.
Watch your heads!
Is today the day?
New orders? No? Ah.
Left, right, left, right.
I think you'll really like this one.
I smell a leak.
Jericania! Source of the best goods.
I live to serve you.
I saw them. No other way.
I must think of my folk.
And just when you thought things were about to get dull.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Fight for the Emperor and you might be freed!
God is Rivia! Up here!
To work!
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
The unworthy shall be punished. Have her done in a jiffy.
That will do. Ah!
Discipline shall bring us victory! Naturally. At once. Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
New orders? No? Ah.
Again and again and again.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Must be an important lesson in this. But what?
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Sometimes submission is a virtue.
Yes?
Death is only the beginning!
This could hurt.
Now, how did that incantation go?
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
Off to the front yet again.
The Commissar will hear.
You'll never take me alive!
Brach! Scheiß! In! Zwei!
A knight should help. Our codex commands it.
For you, pal! Anything!
Off to the front yet again.
king? See a local healer or wise woman.
Discipline shall bring us victory!
So much anger and suffering. For what?
Broadhead now loomed before Meve and her force. Once famous for its glowing forges and clanking manufactories, the city now stood silent. Why, you might ask? Because Mahakam. Decades past, it had opened its gates to human merchants and dwarven arms, exquisitely crafted and not nearly as dear as those made by man. The caravans had simply stopped coming to Broadhead. When its black-clad garrison spotted the Lyrians approaching, they'd hastily fled, left the city's gates open wide. Yet, they did not leave empty-handed. Their convoy comprising at least a dozen wagons loaded ostensibly to the hilt.
With what might they have fled?
With something damn heavy,
replied Gascon, squinting his eyes.
Look at this. 2 horses to pull each wagon, and the wheels cut deep into the road.
Just a few months past, 'twas we who fled the black-clad hordes,
said Meve, her tone and mien betraying disgust.
Now our roles stand reversed. We are the aggressor. Well, let them run, I say. And let all Rivia see Nilfgaard tuck tail, rather than face us in a fight.
The Queen strode towards the open gates, slowly, deliberately, wondering still what spoils the invader had carried off. Crumbling walls, shattered windows, rotted wood. Broadhead was bleak, a dull shadow of its former self. As the Lyrians entered, the somber townsfolk glared at the arrivals and uttered not a word. That is, until they saw Willem and began to hiss and growl. Meve resolved to address the crowd.
Folk of Broadhead, you're free at last. The Nilfgaardian occupation is done.
Aye, and a new one starts now.
Are you madman? Don't you recognize our banners? The Lyrian army stands before you.
Oh, I recognise banners. Served neath them as a sergeant 15 long years. And then I came back to my own town. Know what I found? Hardship and squalor, your grace. All had gone to shite. On account of damn dwarves. Been flooding Rivia with their metal goods for years now. Us smiths don't so much as light their pipes in their foundries no more. You call yourselves the Lyrian army. Colours and banners confirm it. Well, what about your arms? Weren't forged in us fires, but in Mahakams. By us worst foes. Hell, I even see some at knobheads in your ranks. And right behind, Prince Willem, who bent a knee to blackclads not long past. So what freedom's it you're giving us, your grace? Freedom to beg in common, not in Nilfgaard's mongrel tongue?
Beg? What do you want about, man?
There's no levy on goods from Mahakam. But without it, us workshops don't stand a chance. And ye, your grace, you wear their armour, bear their arms, and bring bearded bastards to our doorstep.
There's a war on. I do whatever I must to win.
Aye, Majesty. And you run up a debt with dwarves. A debt you'll need to repay. At the cost of your own craftsmen.
Enough. Silence. Consider yourself lucky you've a merciful queen. I'd have had your head off by now. Move along.
Before Meve could leave the market square, Barnabas politely interjected.
Frankly speaking, there's a bit of truth to what the man says.
I'm perfectly aware of that. But what do you want?
I don't mean to toot my own horn, but perhaps I might be of some help?
Do tell how. I'm all ears.
Everything your folk make here, the dwarves of Mahakam make twice as fast and twice as well. You must find a so-called niche, an innovation. And it just so happens innovations
are your speciality.
At the risk of being immodest, exactly. Besides, it might serve the cause of peace to show the folk here, non-humans, are not all bad, that they can help, not just steal human jobs and piss in their milk.
I'll consider it, Barnabas. I shall think and let you know.
The time came to leave Broadhead, so Meve summoned her advisors, eager to hear their counsel. They put forth ideas, many of merit, but the Queen would decide the city's future. After careful deliberation, the Queen approved Barnabas's proposal. He would manage the city's ailing industry and seek to restore it to health.
Barnabas, just please, do your best not to blow it all up.
Don't you worry, Your Grace. The only boom in this town's future is that of the economic sort.
At first, the Rivian townsfolk were skeptical of the Queen's decision, but Barnabas's schemes bore immediate fruit. Soon, the foundries and manufactories were bustling with life. Before long, Meve herself received new goods produced there.
Now, I'm no ally of gnomes or any freaks, but this Barnabas bloke, he's not a bad apple. Now, I'm no ally of gnomes or any freaks, but this Barnabas bloke, he's not a bad apple. Now, I'm no ally of... Now, I'm no...
The wind howls like a ghastly apparition.
When Meve saw Reynard's usually stoic visage rent by a half-moon grin, she knew he brought particularly good news.
Your Grace, our toil has borne fruit. The liberated towns of Rivia have hired an outfit of mercenaries conveyed to your command, along with wishes for a speedy victory.
Meve cast an eye over the long column of hired soldiers, taking in their top-notch arms and battle-hardened faces. Her gaze lingered longer on their banners, surprised to see some bearing the Caldwell crest, suggesting Dragomir had proven worthy of the trust she had extended him.
With support like this to bolster our ranks, our way grows easier,
said the Queen with a smile.
Send the townsmen a letter. Say their queen thanks them for their devotion to the realm, and when the time comes, she shall reward them fittingly.
Rivia Castle. Seems our journey nears its end.
That end could yet prove tragic. We've daunting tasks ahead. Pride. It's all I ever felt pondering those walls. Yet now, to behold them from below, I truly do wish we hadn't built them so tall.